Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, welcome to episode 114. 114, we are, 14 episodes over a hundo. Remember the hundo super pack? We had that just 14 episodes ago, which seems like a million miles ago. But episode 14 is going to be exciting. And it's going to be exciting about a topic that we all actually experience at some point in time or another. So we're going to talk about burnout today. We're going to talk about being small business owner burnout. I am one of your hosts, Mike Blaine, also known as Cashflow Mike. That is my partner and co-host, Blaine Birch, the CEO and founder of Dry Run, the cash flow forecasting software you cannot live without. What's up, my man?
Ready to kick it off here. We're this is the last one I think we'll be doing in Canada for the next 6 months. So I'm going to be heading down your way. So episode 115 will be both of us down south of the border. So that's going to be kind of fun. Hitting the road tomorrow. It's going to be a long drive, but used to it.
The bird? What'd you figure out?
Yeah.
No bird.
No, for you guys out there that are wondering, we have a pet parrot and we cannot bring him across the border because apparently it's easier to get like plutonium across the border than a bird because there's a bird flu, and apparently a quarantined little bird sitting in our house here is just like could cause, the entire downfall of humanity or something. So anyway, so he has to stay home.
You're telling me that a bird that has always lived in a cage in a house, that has traveled many times to the United States in a car and lived in the United States half of its life, is more dangerous than what'd you say it was? 4 million birds that fly across the border every day?
Billion. No, like if there's with a B, it is with a B. There's 4 billion birds that go south in the winter and north in the summer and cross the border. And so when they find a dead bird in some county and say, we have bird flu in this county, it's like, you have bird flu every block. There's 4 billion birds. That's a lot of birds. But apparently a bird that lives in the house with us and in the car and in the hotel is like the worst thing. It's like border security, cannot let a bird across the border. So so Pickle has to stay home this year, and that's kind of too bad. So
I think as you cross the border, you should flip the bird.
Yeah, exactly. That's also how you get kicked out of the turn around. You're going home. But that's what I feel like. And it's not their fault. Like the people at the border, it's not their fault. It's like bureaucrats in some office somewhere that either just don't want to do any work or they just don't want to go out on a limb with one bird that's quarantined compared to the 4 billion flying in. So it's annoying, but we're he's going to have to stay home with a babysitter this year. So
those darn migration patterns.
Exactly.
We just don't have border security anywhere anymore.
It's just bizarre. But anyway, we're looking forward to getting it because I cannot believe it is early this year. I am looking out at snow. There's snow on the ground here, a little bit in the trees. That is super early. So we're raring to go. Like honestly, the first snowflake comes down and it's like, start the car. We're getting out of here. So
we have had a massive amount of rain. Right. And I go, where were you guys at when you were burning up my flowers and my shrubs and my grass and everything else? Where were these raindrops when I need them the most?
Yeah, exactly. You can't pick it. You just get what you get.
Hey, so let me tell you about Cashflow Mike real quick. I mean, just what we do at Cashflow Mike, we help business owners, accountants, and bookkeepers find hidden cash in businesses. So if you've ever felt like you just didn't have enough money, you were always waiting for something to come in before you could make another payment, I've got the concept for you. I've got the way to teach you how to find it, and the strategies to go get it. Contact me at cashflowmike.com. What about you?
Yeah, I was going to tell you a little bit about Dry Run. So thanks to one of our beer sponsors who we'll mention right away. He scolded us and said, we got to tell a little bit about what we do right at the start of the show. So Dry Run is going to help you guys forecast your cash flow. So of course, Cashflow Mike and I, the same belief. businesses struggle with their cash flow now, probably more than ever. If you come to us, we're going to show you where you are, where you're going, and how to get there in your cash flow. What's your sales pipeline look like? What if? We're going to help you understand where you're going. We're going to help you visualize it. And it's going to transform your business. In fact, I know it saved my business more than once, because I knew what was coming down the pipe and I could adjust well ahead of time. And that's what we can do for you. So come and talk with us, and we'll give you optics into your business and visualization in your business that you just don't have today.
Yeah, right on. You talked about beer sponsors. We are 39 weeks in a row with beer sponsors. We got 3 of them going at once. So don't think
we got 3 now.
You can handle more than one. Don't think that you got to wait until one's done for you to start. We're handling 3 of them right now. We've got Rachel from Gentle Frog, Rachel Barnett. We've got Larry Weinstein, CPA in Houston, Texas. And we got Neighbor Pat. Neighbor Pat always comes through. I got to have a little message, Neighbor Pat. I got some new bags, cornhole bags, right, in the mail yesterday. They're probably going to mark these things illegal because they stick when they're supposed to stick, because they're dual-sided, right? I mean, they stick when they're supposed to stick, and they slide when they're supposed to slide. And I'm going to tell you what, I went out and practiced last night. If they thought I was dangerous before, if I was already the neighborhood champion, the unbeatable, undefeated, indisputable champion of Kinder Ranch, if they thought I was that already, I just put another mile between me and them.
I can already hear Neighbor Pat, bullshit. I can just hear it all the way from Texas. I can just hear it ringing in my ear. I'll trust you on that. But you know what? So our other beer sponsor, Larry, he is meeting me. We're going to meet in just like a week and a bit. So Larry, if you're listening, looking forward to it. We're going to meet at Goldwater Brewing in downtown Scottsdale. So we're actually going to meet at a brewery, have a beer, and they have cornhole at that brewery. And it actually is last spring. So March, last spring, we're over at the brewery, and there's a bunch of that because it's all spring training. And the Giants stadium is 2 blocks away from the brewery. And so we had some of the MLB players had come for a beer, and they started playing cornhole. And I thought they're going to be better. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought they'd be better at it. Because these guys are they're freaking ripped, and they're huge, and they're so athletic. And then dude, you can't throw a beanbag. It was pretty funny to watch, actually.
Hey, here's why. Can I tell you the name of the brand of bags I got? It's an actual company.
All right, yeah.
Beer Belly Bags.
Oh, that's just beauty.
Right?
That is beauty.
Yeah. That's what I like about the game. I don't have to be an MLB player and have the physique of Adonis.
You just have to have the right bag, man. That's all you need.
Right bag, just the right bag. That's all you need. So, episode 114. Hey, what are you drinking? I mean, we started with today. We normally start with beer. We went right to BS right off the bat.
Straight to BS. So I've got here Green Velvet IPA, and this honestly, it's the last beer in my fridge. I timed this thing. I've been drinking beer, making sure that outside of some really nice stouts that I'm kind of hiding away. I got this Green Velvet IPA, and it was last one in the fridge, and it's from Bellwoods Brewing it's in Toronto. It's actually downtown Toronto. I don't know if that's where the brewery is, but they have a brew pub in downtown Toronto. And pre-COVID, when I was down in Toronto a few years ago, one of my best friends has been in Toronto since I've known him since I remember him. He grew across the street from me. He was 3 and I was 4. That's as far back as I remember. Known this guy for almost 50 years probably now. And when I was in Toronto, he lives in Toronto now. We walked over to Bellwoods. They're well known for a really terrific sour called Juice something. So, but this is one of the first IPAs I've had from Bellwoods, and it's a really terrific IPA. If you're in Toronto, walk over to Bellwoods. You're gonna enjoy. You're gonna enjoy their beer there, and make sure you have a juicy whatever one of their sours there. It's a terrific little brewery.
Right on. Well, I let Courtney's daughter pick my beer this week, and she started dating this ROTC guy. If you don't know what ROTC is, I mean, it's Reserve Officers Training Corps. It's pre-military is kind of what he's in. He's still in high school. She's in high school, but I let her pick it out. So she gravitated towards this camo can, right?
Nice.
It's called Shotgun. It's a Texas Bock camo. But one of the things I like about this brewery, right? I remember they donate to Operation Red Wings, right? So everything that they sell, they give a portion back to veterans causes. So
nice.
Shotgun, it's made here in Texas. It's a Bock. It's a little light on ABV. It's only 4.4, but the taste is
carry it.
Yeah, the taste carries it, man. I mean, it's one of the better tasting beers I've had in a long time. So
this isn't that strong. This is 7%, but it's a big can. But yeah, nothing. Easy peasy.
Mm-hmm. So we'll probably be able to get through the conversation today because we're talking. Yeah, who knows, right?
We'll see. So, we already sang our own jingle, so we'll see.
That's right. So, all right, so we're talking about burnout. We're talking specifically about business owners. You know, when I think about burnout, most people, when I talk about this commercial, they don't remember it exactly, right? So, but Dunkin' Donuts back in the 1900s, I think it's in the 80s, had a guy that would wake up early in the morning, still dark outside, and he would walk over to the bakery and he would say to himself, it's time to make the donuts, right? And then you see him in there making donuts, and at the end of his shift, he walks back home, and as he's walking back home, he says, I made the donuts, right? That was kind of his whole thing. But it was like day after day, I made the donuts, time to make the donuts. And that's what I envision business owners going through sometimes. It's just like the same thing, day after day after day. You just always have the same grind, and it creates burnout, right? I lovingly call it founderitis. It's just when you kind of take your foot off the gas. But I heard something last week that said burnout was actually about resentment. And am I going, is that true? So I've been kind of debating that, today is like going, is burnout really connected to resentment? So when I say that, what do you think?
Yeah.
No, that's bullshit. That's dope.
Yeah, that's bullshit. That sounds like no. Okay, yeah, it sounds like kind of like somebody wrote a paper about it, but has never experienced it. I think it at times it could be. I think to try and button it up in a single little bow, I'm not sure that is quite right. I think there's a lot of different things that could be involved in this. Not just because you can love what you're doing, but if you're absolutely doing 80 hours a week and killing yourself, you can feel burnout, and you can, or cash flow. Cash flow can be the number one way that you can feel burned out. I don't know. Is it built on resentment, or is it built on crumbling fear? Right? Like,
yeah, I think resentment is an oversimplification. Right. But I do think even the things you just mentioned, financial strain, or what was the other one there?
Just hours, just the level of work. Yeah.
I think you can start to resent it. You can actually look at other people like going, oh, I see my neighbor, he jumps in the car. Actually mix in a whole bunch of BS with this business. They're going to combine the two.
Good right at that.
Huh? Have you ever seen the movie Office Space?
Oh, hell yeah. Numerous times, of course.
Oh, classic, right? So Peter Gibbons is kind of the protagonist. It's kind of told through his eyes. Yeah. And he gets to a point in his career where he's just burnt out, right? And he goes to this hypnotherapist, and, the hypnotherapist tells him, just let it go. It doesn't matter, And so he wakes up one morning and says, and goes, yeah, I'm just not going to go. I don't like work anymore. It just doesn't want to go. And it leads to all these hilarious interactions with people who are fighting different battles. Now, these aren't small business owners, but they're in a business environment. And it's the same thing. It's the same tedious little thing, whether it's a copy burning out or it's the guy just needs the protection of a stapler. It's all of these things, right?
A stapler.
That's my stapler. Look, you have my stapler. I'm gonna burn this place down.
So good. If you guys haven't seen it, it is so good. And it's funny because like I've been very fortunate not really to ever have to work in like a corporate environment like that. Like I worked in a small studio for a few, like maybe 3 years, and then it was like, that's it. That's the only sort of job I've had outside of maybe like doing a little teaching in academia as a part-timer. You get a little touch of that. But when I watch a movie like that, I love it. But I'm also just like, thank God I never went down a path like that.
But there were so many things in there that could lead you to that just frustration, right? I don't care if it's, do you have these reports for me? Or do you, they bring in consultants to just pile through everything that you're doing. What's another thing? The copier that kept busting on them. Every time they wanted to use it, it would break down. So the big win moment at the end was them taking the copier out to a field and just smashing it to bits. So, you could just feel the frustration. And I think that's what burnout tends to feel like. Like, I need just a break. I need to break this cycle. Yeah. Hey, have you ever had it, burnout?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. And like I always talk about, the reason dry run came to be was back in 2008 when the recession hit and the world turned upside down. But what that led to is this pressure and this stress, and the pressure and stress was, you have the cash flow side, like the literal, we got to make payroll, where you may have to pony up some cash to do it. But then you have the stress of, geez, budgets have slammed shut from our typical clients. We got to find some, like a new sector of clients that are willing to spend money. Where's the need? And you start to get all of these things piled up. And of course it felt like it was completely out of our control. So, but was it resentment, or was it like, we just got to find a way to survive, right? Like, it's not like I resented the recession. Like, what the hell? I don't have anything to, what can I do about that? But the amount of stress and burnout during that time, I still remember as clear as day. Like one time getting to, like, we were in this building with this neat building, these really cool kind of metal stairwell thing that went down, and it was to our office, and just like getting to the top of the stairwell and just going and taking this deep breath and going down the stairs, and just like the weight of the world on your shoulders. And then you swing open the door of the business and you put on a smile and you're like, hey, everybody, how's it going? And you got to be on.
Yeah.
But inside you're like basically terrified and carrying this massive weight around. And and I think there are very, very few, if any, small business owners that have been around for, the 5+ years that have not felt that burnout and that resentment or that stress or that whatever it is, right?
Yeah, I've had a couple different times, right? The first time is as a state trooper. Here's what's funny is that when you first come out of the academy, I actually had an older trooper, probably close to retirement, pull me aside in the headquarters and tell me, slow down. Don't do too much the first year, because there's going to be a point in time when you're not going to want to do that. And you get evaluated. This is what he was telling me. You get evaluated based on your own performance. It isn't me versus the other troopers. It was me, what I did this year versus last year. So if I go out and make 1,000 arrests this year, guess what they're going to expect me to do next year?
Yeah.
Make 1,000 arrests. He says there's going to be a point in time where you just don't want to work like that the same, because you're going to hit a wall at about, and for me, it was like at year 6. At year 6, I'm like going, I'm having the same damn conversations with the same type of people every single day, and I'm tired of it. Yeah. Right? It just, because you never win. In the highway patrol, you just never win. You're always seeing everybody at the worst day of their life. It's a thankless job. Every once in a while, somebody is appreciative of what you did, but it was always during the worst time of their life, right? It wasn't that I did something awesome that people loved and it helped somebody. It was like, yeah, we're glad you were there because you kept him alive for a little longer. You collected the right evidence that we needed for a court case after somebody died. And you're like going, God, is that really all this job is? It's just sadness.
Yeah, and I think with that's a little bit of that sort of experience with the business. It's amazing how little it takes to lift you up. I find, like, it can be just like a bloody grind, and you've taken in the teeth, and you feel like you've just been kneecapped, and you're just like battling through 10 different things, and you're dealing with money and banks and lawyers and cranky customers and this, and then all of a sudden someone comes in and is just like, I love what you guys, this is amazing, and you're like, oh, nice. And it's amazing how like one little thing can just kind of lift you up and go, yeah, no, it's worth it, man. Like that somebody really appreciates it, even though you may have had a rough day or rough week and get beaten down. It's amazing. And it's different, I think, when you're then working for someone else, because when you get that, it's like you're putting the blood, sweat, and tears. And when you have a customer that says, yeah, but it's thank you, it's worth it. That goes a long way, I find, anyway.
It happened to me today, right? I had a really super busy, lots of travel last 6 weeks, and I was a little tired the last week and a half, just tired. I mean, I think you could probably tell in last week's podcast episode, I'm just, I was a little run down, a little cranky. And yeah, I had 2 different customers this week. It just said the right thing at the right moment that goes, yeah, oh, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm here. That's why I do, that's why I do the posts. That's why I write the articles. That's why, Bob. I'm like, because it matters. Some people like it.
Yeah. And and I wish you could schedule those, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can go a long time and then all of a sudden you get a little bunch of them together and it's like, oh man, I wish you could just like get a nice, spread them out so that, you're just go, right?
Part of it came from a post I made yesterday. All right, so just because I sell, sometimes I get sold too, and so I took a call from Yelp, right? Because I'm trying to figure out digital advertising, those type of things. What's a good thing for me, and I'm trying to expand a little bit because I've been kind of really tight with my budget. I'm like, well, maybe I could, expand out just a little bit. So I took a call from Yelp. And they made the best value proposition statement I've ever heard. I'm like going, oh my God, I wish every company could do something like that. Now think about it. They compete with, we'll say, Facebook. They compete with Google Ads, these type of things, Instagram. And the one thing that they said was, people don't come to our site to look at pictures. They come here to buy. They're already that much closer to a buying decision. I'm like going, oh, mind blown. My mind was blown because when I advertise on Facebook, you're starting at the top. Maybe they don't even know who you are. You're starting at the just, hey, look at me. I exist. I'm here. I have something. When you go to Yelp, they're already looking for you and what you do. So when they see your ad and they see your thing on Yelp, you're like going, holy smokes, that really just resonated, man. Have you ever been mind blown like that? That's what re-energized me, by the way, was that as well.
Yeah, well, like nothing like it pops up immediately, but I totally get what you're saying. Like, is this one of those things? Again, we're a little off topic here, but we've been experiencing some of that when we're looking at our own data and going like, okay, we're paying for stuff over here, but it's not generating where people are just walking in the door coming to us. Like, where do we double down? It's like, we're kind of doubling down on the cheapo stuff, but it's working great. And buying it is tougher. It is really tough to buy bona fide sort of believers. But then we have this other stuff. This is like, they're coming and just like, we're ready to go. And it's just such a different feeling, right? Like, yeah, and I think every business can suffer through that.
Yeah, so I'm going to test it, and I'm testing it at the one at, which means it only takes one customer to break even. So if they say, if what they say is true, it should be easy enough to get.
Yeah. Yeah. The interesting thing, I was about to go down a path, except that I want to circle back to Yelp here, because the interesting thing is, like, when people say Yelp, I picture restaurants.
Yeah.
Right? I know there's more in there. I know there's a lot more in there. Like, when I logically think of it, but they've built their brand so much on that restaurant side that's just what's in my head all the time.
They showed me some data about people looking for business consultants, right? Which is a little different than what you do. Yeah. But they showed me about, and
Yeah.
they asked me to change my Yelp from San Antonio, right? Because I just thought Yelp was a local thing, right? You do it. Hey, what's around me today? Now they had me set up to where my ad is shown in New York and LA and Miami and Chicago and all the big cities where I'm at the top of the list. When you see business consulting, I'm there in the sponsored ad up top. And I'm like, oh, you guys might have just changed my whole strategy around how I attack a nation with remote work.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I'm kind of fascinated by that. I'm actually going to take some time and dig around Yelp later, just because I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, they've got
where
search
it goes and how much it reaches.
Right? They know what people are looking for. So, I mean, but you're right. I only looked at it for restaurants.
Yeah.
Because I think initially that's all they were trying to do. But now they're trying to, compete with Google or whoever for reviews and those type of things. They're trying to become a search engine for business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And they reached out to me. I didn't reach out to them because I'm like, I took the call because I'm like, it's kind of interesting. I haven't really thought about it in a year. Let's see what you guys do.
Oh, yeah, that is interesting. Yeah. I mean, let's circle back a little bit to our topic here. I remember being on, this is pre-COVID, like right before COVID. So I it's been back a while, so I don't remember all the details, but I was at some sort of event and there's a room of entrepreneurs, and it wasn't a big room, like 30, 40 people or something. And I think I might've been on one of those panels, sitting on the chair at the front with the other 3 or 4 people, and they're grilling you and asking you questions. And I remember there was some comment or some question, and it related to burnout. And I said, it's like, yeah, some days it's tough. It's tough to fight the fight, but you get these good days. It's like hitting that beautiful golf shot kind of thing. Is like, yeah, no, it makes it all worth it. Like, I don't even golf, but I've done it enough to know. Like, you get those times in between, but some days you've just gotta, you have to have the drive to drive through the shitty days, kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember this one woman that was in the audience, or maybe she was on the panel with me. I can't even remember. But she goes, I never have days like that. I love this, and I love it every single day. And I never said anything, but I'm like, yeah, it'll come. And especially because I think it was a little bit of, it's a little different when you're kind of the solopreneur, or like the consultant or what. When the bigger things get and the heavier the weight becomes, right? And as things build, there's a point where that weight gets heavier and heavier and heavier, and it'll come. I didn't say that, but like, it'll come. Yep.
Yeah. Well, if you are the type of business owner that feels that weight right now, if you're the type of business owner that has cash flow pressures, if you're the type of business owner that needs some relief, that just doesn't know where to turn to cash flow, Mike. I've got the plan, the program, clear path to cash. That's what you need. It's 8 strategies on how to maximize cash in any given business situation. I don't care if you're just starting up. I don't care if you're trying to sell inventory, if you got payroll problems. Doesn't matter. I teach you simple math that you can easily execute, bite-sized consumable action chunks. So check me out, cashflommike.com, and you will put more money in your pocket today.
And it's more important now more than ever. Beautiful segue, by the way. But I read the other day.
I go, boom. I like when I make myself
Beautiful
software. Yeah. Got it. Yeah, I got it. Nailed it.
I read actually, I think it was actually just yesterday that 1 out of 3 restaurants are burning cash. That they're running at a loss every single day. That is a frightening stat. I because it feels to me like restaurants are killing it right now. Like they all seem to be full.
Right,
1 out of 3, right?
That's 2008, right? Again, bankers burnt the world down. I lived on 2, maybe 3 days a week. I lost money every other day. There might have been a Wednesday or Thursday if we had something special going on, plus Friday, Saturday. Everything else was at a loss. Anything I could get in just kept my losses smaller. But I already knew going into the day I wasn't going to make money that day.
Yeah. So imagine at the end of the month burning cash every single month, like as a restaurant that's been around for sometimes for 5-10 years, right? Like I think costs have gone up so much. The appetite for people, like their willingness to spend, has a limit. You can't just raise prices to cover. It has a limit where people will start to walk away and go, screw that. I'm not paying that. I was shocked because it felt like restaurants were all so full and busy. But if every ticket, every dish you serve, you're at a loss, because I know the margins are tight already. Like I've heard there's somewhere around, like, doing well is 3 to 5%. Margins are really tight. There's a lot of restaurants around, and that kind of tells me that 1 out of 3 restaurant owners is walking around probably pretty burned out by now, especially after going through COVID and everything else, right? Like all the, not having people even come into the restaurant and building debt up.
Remember I told you there's a couple times about burnout? First of all, the average lifespan of a restaurant owner is 3 years, right? Because you just get beat up. You get beat up.
For the restaurant, you don't die.
Yeah. So
hopefully it's not fatal. Yep.
Yeah, meaning that you're ready to get out of that business in about 3 years. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, lifespan.
Yeah.
Like, I started a restaurant, and, well, I only lived 3 more years.
Yeah, you're done.
But it's because it's a Groundhog Day like you wouldn't believe, except it's filled with a different surprise pile of shit in your desk every day. Well, what sandwich am I going to have to eat today? Oh, this is a broken toilet sandwich. This is a employee stole from me sandwich. It was always a different issue. I mean, there was good days too, but most of the time there was always some problem. I don't care if it was a false alarm at 3:30 in the morning you had to drive over to the restaurant for, or if it's who knows, you ran out of something that you didn't expect to, and people were mad. There's always a problem every day that you fix. That's all you do is solve problems.
Yeah. Have you seen the show Bear? It's on.
Disney. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, because that guy was in Shameless, right? His name was Lip. His name was Lip.
Okay, I never saw Shameless. I'm not even sure what that is, to be honest. But Bear is outstanding, and of course I never ran a restaurant, but the challenge, it doesn't matter. It's the same shit, different day. Like, it's a different business, but that feeling of that was a pretty extreme one. But you get the feeling of those struggles and that one thing after another, and now the fire thing and the da-da-da, and you're just like, that's just how it is. Yeah. That's what happens. That's how businesses run, and that's all the shit you have. And amazing show. I just we watched it one day because we just saw like a little thing, and we're like, I'll start watching it, and we got we're 5 minutes into that show, and we got sucked in. We were all in, just like, oh my god,
No, it's really good. It's really good. So when it comes to burnout, though, I mean, you can start to see it in others, and you can see it when they're not as attentive, they're not as responsive that they were, and sometimes it's just not as good. You're like, well, man, you used to be sharp. You used to be just on it. You come up with great ideas. You just make things happen, and now you're like, it's like pulling teeth trying to get you to engage. I mean, you can kind of,
Yep.
I mean, it happens at the owner level, but it happens at employee level too.
All the way down, and it's hard, like as an owner, to be walking in, like I said, like on top of it all the time. And I'm not great at it. I think people can read me like a book a little bit, because I'm not a very good actor. But we were watching just to go right back into a TV show. We were watching the morning show last week, and I don't remember which episode it was, but it was one of this year's episodes. But that business was under a massive amount of pressure. It was a TV network, massive amount of pressure. The CEO was under a massive amount of pressure, like business closing pressure, and he walks into the studio, and his face is just like, just drawn. He's like, oh my God. And then as soon as he sees someone, big smile, shaking hands. How you doing? Good to see you. And the second he get past the people, his face would just drop. Yeah. And then someone else come up and like, how you doing? And like, oh shit, I can relate to that. Right.
We have got, I mean, I feel like I'm in the Step Brothers movie. Am I going, did we just become best friends? Because we're like watching all the same shows now.
We've been best friends for years. I talk with you more than anybody.
That's true. I do talk to you outside of court.
Exactly. Once a week.
I talk to you more than anybody else in the world. Even my daughters.
Exactly.
Strange. Even my own daughters. I talk to you more.
You should feel a little guilty about that. No, I'm not kidding.
They got their own lives, right? I mean, it's not like they're in the house just walking around like I'm ignoring them. It's just like going, hey, one's in Seattle, one's in Omaha, one's in Columbia, Missouri. Like, we talk when we talk. They're adults now, right? Yep. They got their own friends. They got their own people.
Yeah, no, this is my favorite talk every week. Favorite talk every week, man.
Yeah, right. So, but how do you pull somebody out when you recognize it? What are some things we can do when you see it in an employee or you see it in a friend? Yeah. I mean, do you acknowledge it? I mean, first of all, you go say, hey, you okay? Because you're not you. You're not the guy I knew.
Yeah. Yeah, that's usually my go-to, because I'm not that inventive. I just ask. I just literally ask, hey, how you doing? What's going on? What can what can we do? And just that's I'm not sure what else to do outside of to ask questions and listen to them. And find out, right?
Yeah. So when I've done that in the past, I've gotten a combination of defensiveness and or the honest truth. Which do you tend to get more of?
I find like it's the honest truth, but I think I get more of, but I think it's because like I said, I'm not a very good actor. So like when I'm saying the guy from the morning show walking through and smiling, I feel like that, but people can read me better because I'm not a very good actor. And so when I'm under stress, they can see it, they can feel it. And I think I try and be honest with people. I know in my creative agency days, there was a big wake up call at about 2009-ish that I realized we had done a really good job of sometimes hiding the pressure and the stress. And there was one day where I realized the staff was walking around and they had no idea. Mm-hmm. And it came back to bite me a little bit, because it's like, we need all you guys like dialed in. We're running on a razor's edge here, but we had done such a good job of hiding it that it was kind of like, everything's just like awesome. Right. And it had to be a little bit of, I realized, and I've changed it, especially in this business of, the staff are invested, and you have to be honest with them. Now there's a wall. There's a definite line you don't cross, right? Like, but we had been that everything's awesome, and sort of protecting that so much that we didn't get necessarily, I think, sometimes the understanding and the leeway and the buy-in that we would have if we'd just been a little bit more honest, without bleeding everything and trying to get them to carry things, just a little more honest about it. And so I've been a lot more honest now, I think.
Anybody ever call you out? Or who does call you out when you get that way?
I think honestly, I think I can see it in myself, and it's like anything else. I'm probably harder on myself than anybody else. I don't know if I get. I mean, my co-founder might, or my wife, but
Yeah.
they don't really, because it's like shit. They know it's like, yeah, I'm this way because I'm carrying a lot of weight, and calling me out on it isn't going to fucking help. Like like if it's something else, but when it's like, yeah, the usual is good, and then suddenly you've got this massive weight on your shoulders, calling you out is going to make it worse.
Well,
like, it ain't going to help, right?
calling you out is probably the wrong way to say, hey, ask you about it. Yeah. I'll say confront, but I don't know if that's the right word either. Say, hey, you're not you. What's going on in your world?
Yeah. Yeah, I would probably be my wife, but I don't know if my team has really done that. But I kind of think it's because they don't need to. They can tell, they can tell them. Yeah, I don't know, but it is a bit of the business owner thing. Is I think sometimes we take too much on our shoulders, and it's like you just carry it. And you discourage people from,
I think the people that have approached me about it in the past have almost never been part of the business itself. It's always been a personal relationship. I don't care if it's a best friend or somebody else. Like, hey, you're not telling the same jokes. You're not, engaged as much as you were. We can't get you to go out. We can't get you to do these things. What's going on in your world? Because this ain't you. Something changed, right? And so
yeah. Well, and I have a really good friend of mine that's an entrepreneur, and it's I can almost tell from the timing of the text message, beer, and it's like, and some days it's just like, yeah, to go have a beer, and other days, in that single word, I can go, shit, something's going on, and I think it's the same with him. You just go like, beer, and it's like he can probably look out and go, yeah, it's a beautiful sunny day, great for a patio. And other days he's like, fuck, something's going on.
Blaine needs some time.
Let's go for a beer. You need that, and I'll never forget the one day he walked onto we just had drinks one day on the deck here, and he walked on and he goes, so am I talking to you down from the ledge? Are you talking to me? It's like, yeah. That's what it was, right? And but that is I do want to sort of say that with entrepreneurs, I think the worst thing you can do when you're feeling that burnout and the stress and the pressures and everything is hide away. What you need to do is go talk with other entrepreneurs. There was one time, actually it was in the last couple of years here, I was talking with another entrepreneur, and I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit like reluctant to go meet with them, because I just felt like the weight of the world, and I'm like, I don't even want to, like, you feel like I felt like it wasn't working, and I'm just like, I'm so stressed, and I'm feeling this pressure, right? And I'm like, I didn't even want to. I just sort of didn't even want to go. And then when I sat down with him, and it was just like instant. He's like, as we start talking, he's like, oh, like I know exactly where. And we start talking, and it was like I felt so good by the time I left, because he had been there. He had his own challenges. From the outside, it looks like no challenges, and suddenly it's like, oh, he's fighting stuff too. And he has some really good sort of insights and advice and encouragement, and I think vice versa too. And so when I left, I'm like, man, thank God I went sat down and met with them, right? Because no one knows what you're going through outside as much as another entrepreneur, like another one that's just fighting this fight, right? And you need that. You need to talk with your cohort, whatever. I don't even know how you describe them, right?
Yeah.
That community.
that leads me to, to what happens when I start to feel that way, right? I mean, in the past, I've done things like I just leave for the afternoon. I just take the afternoon off and just get away from the office and just clear my head somehow. And I don't care if it's go have a beer somewhere, or I used to go play golf in the afternoon. I'd go play nine holes of golf, and that would kind of just clear it. What I'm trying to do is clear the noise, put something else in, because as well as I do, sometimes that burnout, that feeling is that you can't fix a problem. There's something there, and I've always talked about it. You get on the bike, when you stop thinking about it, something happens. You're motivated.
Answer happens.
The answer happens. You got to actually release your brain to let it happen.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's switching to the subconscious. You're consciously fighting something, and as soon as you switch to the subconscious, your brain makes connections your conscious brain can't, because you're under this pressure. And I've said it, like you picked it out. I've said it a million times that you get those days where I'm just like, I've hit a wall, and it's like Groundhog Day in my brain over and over. Mm-hmm. And I hop on a bike and I go for really like a hard ride. And partway through, so often it's like the sun just comes down. I'm like, oh shit, that's the answer. And like I would always say, like, it's, biking, exercise, things like that's really good, but it doesn't really matter. So what is your thing that takes you away from work and has your brain, your conscious brain doing something different? And just let your subconscious brain your unconscious start figuring shit out.
I tend nowadays, it seems like if I go lay in the bed, there's like a period of time. I don't know if it's like right before I fall asleep. That's something will go, oh, that's a good idea, and I'll go write it down, or I'll speak it into my phone or something like that. But it's one of those things. I'm like going, I couldn't come to that idea until I laid down and just stopped thinking about it.
Stop thinking about it. Yeah.
Now, you gotta be careful, because you're like, oh, am I asleep or not? And why is that porcupine flying next to me?
Exactly. Well, the most important thing, if you ever run into that, is to actually write it down, because if you don't write it down, your brain won't let it go. As soon as you write it down, it's like, that's what I find is like, okay, I can look at it tomorrow. Now I can let it go, because I won't forget it. Otherwise, I'll be so worried all night in my brain, somewhere in the back of my brain, that I'll forget it.
Remember this. Yeah.
Yeah, like I got up, this is literally a week or two ago. It was probably 4 a.m. And I go, and I'm like, I don't have anything to write my shit down. And I had this idea. And so I walk all the way downstairs, and I did type it all into my phone. And then I walk all the way back upstairs. And my wife usually sleeps through everything, but for some reason she woke up and she's like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? Because they like, I just had to write something down.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is all it was. But I can't sleep otherwise. I might wake up in the next morning and go, that was the dumbest. I don't even know what I was saying there. But if you don't write it down, you can't get to sleep. So you might as well just like write her down, right?
All right. So you know what woke me up the other day? Courtney put up Halloween decorations. And all right, so she put one of these things in the front window. Now we got our lights in the front porch are on automatic timers. Mm-hmm. And apparently it's motion activated or light sensor or something like that. But it was like 3:45 in the morning. Now, wasn't that? I don't know, 4 something. Where the sun or whatever it is changed the light, and something reflected against the window, or something moved somehow. And this thing goes throughout the whole house. It just was this, loud as hell. I'm like going, do we really need that on every night? But it was just laughing, and it was a pumpkin that was moving on the window ledge over here.
Oh man.
That's when you don't know, is somebody in the house, or I did have to figure out if somebody was in the house first, because we didn't know what that was. We just heard somebody laugh and talk. We didn't expect it.
Yeah, that would freak me out. I'm a really light sleeper. Like I said, Heather sleeps through everything, and I'll be like, what the hell was that? And I'm up and down and looking outside, and the motion sensor came on. What's going on? It's probably a rabbit or something, but I'm like freaking out. It's I think it's a little bit of I think entrepreneurs so often are wired similarly. And I think it's probably an issue widespread with entrepreneurs is they're up in the middle and they can't stop thinking about something. And it's like, well, at least if you jot it down, it might help you settle your brain down a bit.
All right, so 114. We're coming up at the end of 114. I want to give you a quote from Office Space, and what is it that you do around here? I think you can ask yourself, maybe if you're burnout, you can ask yourself that, or go watch that movie. That will put you on the right train to knowing that burnout is not in your future because you deserve better.
Yeah, that is a couple hours well spent. And in fact, I may end up watching that in the next day or two because it's like, oh yeah, that was a good one. It's been a bit too long. That's one of those ones you can watch every few years and watch it again. It's always terrific.
Absolutely. So our sponsors were Rachel Barnett, Larry Weinstein, and neighbor Pat. So you three, we're very grateful. We're happy to have you as part of the community. But if you want to join that list, all you have to do is go to you go to mikeandblaine.com. It was like a glitch in the Matrix there. That's what that was. So go to mikeandblaine.com and click that button that says buy us a beer, right? So buy us a beer. $5 is all it takes. And as many $5 as you put in there is as many weeks we talk about you. So if you want to be next on the list,
we are a cheap sponsorship date. It's an easy peasy. And make sure that you like us, you subscribe, you all the rest. Make sure you catch all our episodes. It's on YouTube. It's on like all of the main networks, Apple Podcasts. What is he? I totally went blank here. I think that beer's starting to hit me a bit.
Google, Apple, Spotify. We're on all of them.
And we're also like, we streamed live on Facebook. We streamed live on LinkedIn. So we're all over the place, but make sure you follow us. Make sure you like us and follow so that, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. So we got number 15, 115 coming up next week. It's going to be awesome.
All right. So Kinder Ranch Bag Boys, I'm coming for you.
I really want to hear Pat text Mike what you think of his comment as he's like the most brilliant player in the neighborhood. I really want to hear what you have to say about that.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com, then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.